The kitchen was a flurry of motion. It was getting late, and after disaster upon disaster all day, the siblings knew that their parents should be home soon. The light from the window had begun to fade, casting long shadows across the counters, and the soft hum of the oven underscored the urgency of their final task. Ruby dashed between counters, sweeping up spills and straightening napkins, only to trip over a stray carrot. A folded napkin took flight, twirling through the air before landing in a pile at her feet. She scooped it up quickly, cheeks flushed, and kept moving. Asher weaved between her and the table, arms flailing theatrically, narrowly missing a platter of roasted vegetables. He grinned like the chaos was scripted, tipping a small bowl just enough to send a few peas skittering across the tile. Flour dusted his hair and fingertips, and yet he seemed entirely proud of the mess he left in his wake. Evelyn moved with precise, fluid motions, sliding serving dishes into place and adjusting the napkins with the care of a conductor orchestrating a symphony. A smear of cranberry sauce on the edge of a dish caught her eye, but rather than sighing, she flicked it away with a fingertip, a faint smile tugging at the corner of her mouth. She was in control, but the tension she had carried all morning had softened, replaced by the quiet pride in her siblings' efforts. Every clatter of a spoon, every rolling vegetable, every minor near miss added to the rhythm of the room. The smell of roasted turkey mingled with the sweet pies and warm bread, filling the air with a comforting, chaotic harmony. Flour-dusted counters, steaming dishes, and a fading daylight created a backdrop for the final stretch of preparation. Amid the chaos, subtle glances passed between the three. Ruby's hurried movements were matched by Evelyn's careful guidance and Asher's unpredictable energy. Despite the mess and the minor disasters, there was a shared understanding. They had carried the weight of the meal together, and somehow that made every spill, tumble, and near catastrophe worth it. The kitchen was quieter now, the worst of the chaos behind them. Counters gleamed where spilled ingredients had been wiped away, pans stacked neatly, and the lingering aroma of the roasted turkey and sweet pies filled the air. Yet the siblings themselves were still dusted in flour, speckled with cranberry and streaked with gravy, the day's battles written across their clothes and hair. Ruby sank to the floor in front of the couch, letting out a long breath, her hands still sticky with mashed potatoes. Evelyn settled in to her right, adjusting her apron and brushing flour from her sleeves, while Asher flopped onto the left, hair tousled and flour dusted, a small smear of sauce on his cheek. Together they sat in a triangle of exhausted triumph, the remains of their mess scattered across the floor like a chaotic confetti. For the first time that day, words emerged between them, quiet, hesitant, admissions carried on, shared laughter and soft sighs. Ruby confessed how she had felt overlooked, how every mishap made her fear she wasn't capable. Evelyn admitted how tightly she had tried to hold control, and how easily she became frustrated when things went awry. Asher finally, serious, shared how he sometimes felt invisible, how his jokes and antics were his way of being noticed. The confessions hung in the air, mingled with the smells of dinner. One by one, they leaned back, letting the weight lift. Ruby's shoulders relaxed, Evelyn's jaw softened, and Asher's let out a long exhale, face smeared with the evidence of his exuberance. Sitting there amidst the chaos they had created, they shared a quiet understanding. They were not perfect, but they were a team. A small chuckle passed between them as they surveyed the spotless counters and neatly arranged dishes, a stark contrast to their own flour-streaked clothes and hair. The task was almost complete, the kitchen ready for the final touches. For a moment, they simply rested, letting the satisfaction of perseverance and shared effort sink in before they would rise again to finish setting the tables for their parents. Snow piled high outside, muting the world behind the windows. Tires crunched against icy driveways, luggage wheels skidding, and the faint scent of damp coats drifted through the quiet entryway. The house seemed empty, still almost ordinary, until the parents reached the dining room. There, spread across the table, was the full Thanksgiving feast, the turkey glistening with golden skin, stuffed spilling from its dish, mashed potatoes perfectly fluffed, mashed roasted vegetables gleaming, and pies lining the far end. Napkins were folded, mostly straight, serving utensils in place, and even a few small decorative touches completed the scene. Mom paused, eyes wide, taking in the immaculate presentation. Dad stopped behind her, jaw dropping slightly as he surveyed the spread. For a heartbeat, neither spoke. The only sound was the faint tick of the clock. Then, almost simultaneously, smiles broke across their faces. The quiet amazement of the empty house gave way to laughter, admiration, and unspoken pride. The siblings' efforts, chaos, and teamwork had transformed the dining table into a warm, inviting tableau, ready to welcome the family. From the top of the stairs, Ruby appeared, flour speckled and slightly out of breath. She paused for a moment, taking in her parents' expressions before stepping down to greet them with a bright, relieved smile, the perfect personal touch to the family's triumphant scene. Conversations flowed alongside the clatter of cutlery. Teasing remarks bounced from sibling to sibling, stories from past holidays surfaced, and jokes tumbled over one another. Ruby beamed with pride at the accomplishments. Evelyn allowed herself a quiet, satisfied smile, and even Asher's antics felt purposeful. He had, after all, helped hold everything together in his own chaotic way. By the time the first bites were taken, the meal had become more than the food. It was a testament of perseverance, teamwork, and the messy, comedic, heartfelt, heartwarming bond of family. The chaos of the morning had transformed into laughter, warmth, and pride at a job surprisingly well done. The table was crowded with dishes, some slightly askew, others marked with small spills, mashed potatoes clinging to the edge of the serving bowl, a streak of cranberry sauce across the tablecloth, yet the imperfections only added charm. The family leaned into one another, laughing, spilling over the clatter of cutlery and the soft hum of conversation. Ruby recounted a morning mishap with dramatic flair, prompting Asher to interject with a jokingly reenactment orange flame like a Broadway performance. Evelyn rolled her eyes, smile tugging at the corner of her mouth, while Mom and Dad laughed at the chaotic energy their children had harnessed so well. Outside, the snow continued to drift silently, a soft contrast to the warmth inside. The kitchen counter still bore the marks of battle, flour smudges, sauce splatters, and stray utensils hinting at the chaos that had come before, but now these remnants felt like badges of accomplishment rather than mistakes. Forks clinked against plates, glasses chimed in toasts, and stories bounced around the table. Small victories celebrated, minor disasters retold with humor, and family bonds reaffirmed. In that imperfect, lively home, the siblings realized that Thanksgiving had been about more than the meal. It was about the laughter, the chaos, the teamwork, and the love that held them together through every wobble, spill, and mishap.